Hello, hopefully you can hear me. Unfortunately, I came back a bit fast and I've lost my show and it's not picking it up on here for some reason. Not sure what that's all about. I'm going to have to look into that error. There we go, finally. Got through it in the end, guys. Alright, well, hopefully we're all back. Hopefully everyone's still here. Hopefully we didn't lose too many people in the process. So apparently I've got a poor network detection it says on my stream as I'm looking at it, poor network detection detected. I don't know if I've got internet issues, which is why it's all going a bit wonky. You might have to refresh it, Jordan. Someone let Jordan know you might have to refresh it. Yeah, it could be that my internet is having a few dramas, which could be the reason for it. Sorry, just checking an alert, see if my alerts are working and everything. Everything seems to be okay. Don't know why it's saying that shit is unstable, but okay, I'll just give it a refresh and now it says excellent, so I'm guessing that could just be there being a pain in the ass for the minute. Alright, let's get on with the show. Let's hope that we're all good. Okay, I'll wait just a minute and give everyone a chance to make sure they're situated and they're back in action. Because I know adverts and things will kick in. So we'll give everyone a chance just to make sure there's none of that bollocks going on. Get through adverts and all that. I don't want to join into the match and then find a whole group of people missed it because the adverts are gone. We had about 26 people here before. I think we only have like 18 here now, maybe. I can't see. 25, sorry. So yeah, I think people are just about back and ready. I do need to Google that error, so I will give people a minute or two whilst I have a quick Google of an error. Oh no, I won't. My phone's dead. Happy days, naturally. Alright guys, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna... I think someone said in the chat that it was a driver issue, but I don't know what driver it would be. What's that? Hey, thank you very much for the follow. Barbarrel Love, much appreciated. I will catch you on a follow back. Apparently a Windows update might fix it, so I'll give that a go later. Kind of annoying that we crashed out, but let's go carry on. I'll give Barbarrel Love a follow back if they're still following at the end of the show. Okay, so we're into a collar and elbow tie up. Sorrow takes Zero to one side into a headlock, but he's easily pushed off. A big swing from Zero takes the bionic arm. Sorry, a big swing from Zero with that bionic arm, but it's wild and Sorrow ducks and nails a drop kick. Zero is down and straight back up as the Immortal comes off the ropes into a forward roll. Sorrowful life. No, Zero ducks. They go at each other again. Another lockup. Again, it's Darby with the advantage. Side headlock. Transitioned into a waist lock. Zero throws the bionic elbow back, but Sorrow ducks and executes a reverse rolling cradle. 1, 2, and Zero kicks out. It's not going to do it. The hacker is up and he's furious. He charges the Immortal, looking for a big side kick, but it's dodged. Sorrow running to the corner and executing a whisper in the wind, landing on Zero. The crowd gives a big pop for the Gravedigger. Zero gets to his feet and moves to a turnbuckle to catch a breather. Sorrow is on him quickly. Mule kick. The Immortal felt that one, and then boom, a huge bionic punch drops the Gravedigger. Zero pauses to draw in heat from the crowd. He doesn't waste too much time before he's laying into Darby with a flurry of stomps. The Immortal scrambles clear and gets to his feet, only to get sent spinning to the mat with a huge bionic clothesline off the ropes. Firewall. Zero damn near decapitated the Immortal. Zorro struggles to his feet. Zero is in on him and quickly with a bionic punch to the kidneys. Zero whips the Gravedigger into the ropes. Firewall again, another bionic clothesline. Zero ran through Zorro like a wrecking ball through plywood. Zero makes the cover. 1, 2, no, shoulder up. There is no let up as Zero begins to pummel Zorro down on the mat with his bionic fist, but the ref is quick to break it up. Zero is dismissive and tries to push the ref, but he's too forceful and sends the official into a collision with the turnbuckle, and he's on his back. The referee is out cold. Good old-fashioned ref bump. There's a look on Zero's face. He's leaving the ring. He's armed himself with a steel chair. The augmented warrior is back in the ring, and as Darby Sorrow gets back to his feet, he slams the chair, whack, straight into his fucking face. Sorrow stumbles onto the ropes and off again. Whack, another chair shot. Whack, a third. Holy shit, 2 more. The Immortal has taken 5 chair shots from Zero, but Darby Sorrow is still upright. How on earth? The Gravedigger is draped over the ropes, facing into the ring. Zero raises the chair. 1, 2, 3, 4 more sickening thuds of steel on bone. Zero is trying to murder the Immortal. The Immortal slumps down into a seated position against the ropes and crack, a 10th chair shot. And finally, Darby Sorrow is down. Zero holds the chair above his head and postures for the crowd, heat darting at him from all corners. But wait, how the fuck? The Immortal is rising. Zero turns around and he can't believe what he's seeing. Darby Sorrow getting to his feet. Thud, an 11th chair shot. Zero discards chair, and now he's choking the Gravedigger with his bionic arm. Sorrow's legs are writhing, but Zero has a hard grip locked in. Sorrow's movements become weaker, and what colour he has in his face begins to drain as he goes limp, and eventually Darby Sorrow stops moving. Zero returns to his feet, a smile etched across his face. Has Zero finally laid the Immortal to rest? Zero turns away from Darby and moves to the ropes, calling for his VHS Championship belt. It's thrown to him, and he's about to leave the ring, believing his work is done and his night is over, when something catches his attention. The Gravedigger's shoulders lift off the mat. Darby Sorrow is sitting up. The Immortal is alive. The crowd explodes. Darby rises to a vertical base. Zero charges and tries to nail him with the belt, but Darby ducks, hits the rope, forward roll, flying clothesline, connects, Sorrowful Life, massive crowd pop as Darby Sorrow drags himself back into this match. Zero gets to his feet, flustered. Sorrow with a kick to the gut, into the leg scissors, tombstone, here it is, seated tombstone pile driver. I think it's just a tombstone, actually, isn't it? And Zero is spiked with the sit-out pile driver. Every single spectator inside the slaughterhouse is on their feet as the Gravedigger heads to the top rope. Coffin drop. He got it. A cover. 1, 2, 3. New champion. Except there is no count. The referee is still down. Darby gets to his feet and tries to rouse the official. Eventually, Stripes come round and Sorrow turns his attention back towards Zero. Firewall. Zero has levelled Sorrow with a devastating clothesline. Zero lifts him onto his shoulders and into a torture rack position. He does 1 full rotation and then drills him. CPU driver. The burning hammer may just have broken Darby Sorrow in half. Zero with a cover. 1, 2, 3. Zero retains. No. Sorrow kicks out. Zero is lining up the big finish. Zorro back to a vertical base. Toe kick. No. Blocked. Darby spins Zero around full circle and lifts him into a fireman's carry. Cradle to the grave. Go to sleep. The Gravedigger falls down over his foe. He's draped. He's damn near unconscious, but he's there. 1, 2, 3. No. Unbelievable. Zero kicks out again. Sorrow lifts him up. He's looking for the cradle to the grave one more time. but Zero slides out of it. Absolute Zero. Bionic chokeslam to the Immortal. Another cover. 1, 2. This has to be it. It has to be over. 3, but a kick out. Zero thrusts 3 fingers at the ref, assured that it must have been 3, but it wasn't. The VHS champion heads out of the ring, pulling a sledgehammer from under it. But the distraction has given Darby time. A coffin drop out of nowhere to the outside, but Zorro and Zero are flat on the concrete. The holy shit chants are ringing out around the bleachers as Darby Zorro gets to his feet. He rolls the VHS champion into the ring and starts to climb the top turnbuckle. Is he going for one more coffin drop? But the Gravedigger is in pain and he's slow getting there. Zero has time to join. Toe kick. No way. No fucking way. Punk. City. Killer from the top rope. That's a stunner. Zero covers. 1, 2, 3. It's over. 0, 1, 0 comes through this absolute war and retains the VHS championship. Therefore, your winner and still VHS champion is Zero. What a match. Amazing match. I think Jordan wrote it. Brilliant match. Absolutely insane. Wonderful job. I noticed as I'm saying Sorrow, it sounds like Zorro. So I just went with it. We'll call him Darby Zorro from now on. Well, guys, it's that time. It's that time again. You ready? I think we need some R's in the chat if you're ready. Let's hit it. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Old School Rewind. It's Lux Bellator versus Solomon Rhodes, 2 former foes turned friends, almost brothers, from Red Snow 3 in December 28th, 2017. Red Snow is our WrestleMania. So if you haven't read this match, you might want to. This match was awkward to cut down because it is fucking insane. This match came before the death match. So if you imagine this match is 3 years old, coming up to 4 years old, it's a beast. The time for words is over as Solomon Rhodes meets Lux Bellator under the moonlight. Rhodes wastes no time in going for Bellator's throat, but God's chosen warrior knocks the strike away. He grabs Rhodes by the hair and headbutts him, busting his head wide open. Lux steps back and grins as the blood flows from Solomon's eyebrow, but the dragon smiles, darting his tongue out to taste the precious flow. The 2 men rush forward once again, a cloud of white dust flying into the air, lifting up Lux by the mask. Solomon strikes him so hard across the face that his mask is practically turned around on his face. Fire rages in the eyes of the dragon as he runs at Bellator. Flash! A sudden strike of light throws Rhodes backwards. Crossbody block from Lux Bellator. The 2 men go flying down on the glass skylight, leading down into the tap room itself. It is double paneled. It will not break, but both men avoid it regardless. The dragon takes a step back and charges in. Dark Wish, super kick, no. Bellator flies backwards to hit the snow-covered concrete, flailing in some horrible approximation of a snow angel, trying to get away from the dragon. But Rhodes will not be denied, grabbing the leg of Bellator with a sneer on his crimson-masked face. But as he reaches down, Bellator grabs the back of his head, headbutt to Rhodes' wounded forehead. The snow has turned red, as it does at Red Snow, around the 2 men vying for the fate of the earth as the Warrior of Light takes a commanding position. Diem Lucem, a side sunset flip to Rhodes. Bellator finally makes a cover, hook in the leg, 1, 2, kick out. It won't be that easy for Lux Bellator, but Rhodes fights back, Switching places with Bellator, Lux hits his head on the concrete block, stopping him from toppling into the Miami streets. Rhodes leaps into the air with ill intent. Double foot stop to Lux Bellator on the concrete, but no, wait, Bellator moved. Rhodes crushed the concrete with his kick. It would have killed Lux Bellator. Lux eyes the roof's edge, but instead takes off running back towards the center of the roof and the skylight. The Catholic cross, running, crucifix, powerbomb on the glass. Solomon Rhodes goes through the fucking skylight and lands on the rafter girders that the lights hang on. His body is inches from falling all the way to the mat. Rhodes asks for death, and he's going to get it. The two men teeter for a moment on the edge of death itself before Rhodes pulls his nemesis in to look deep into his eyes. Doing what must be done, the dragon releases the hold, but nails the chaos theory on Lux Bellator, the codebreaker on the Light Warrior, and Lux falls all that fucking way, 20, 30 feet to the mat, and he has to be dead. With raging eyes behind his crimson mask, Solomon Rhodes is not done. With the intent to finish this, he stops and with great theatricality looks down. The tap room roars with their approval. He's gonna fucking do it. He jumps, double foot stomp from the rafters. Blood, but Lux Bellator rolls away. The son of a bitch rolls away at the last second, and Rhodes lands with a thud on the mat, now motionless himself. Front flip pile driver from Lux Bellator. The disciple maker hits flush. Rhodes' head is driven into the canvas, and he covers. 1, 2, 3. Lux Bellator has slayed the dragon and defeated Solomon Rhodes at Red Snow. What a match. Yeah, well, you're going to miss things like that. I mean, without knowing the history of OSW, the way we've built the matches now and the way things happen in certain matches, we would mix between those insane events. You look at Zero versus Sorrow today. It wasn't an insane match. It was a really good match, a standard wrestling match in many ways. But then some of these matches in history are culminations of 1, 2, 3 year feuds that need that extra something special to to get there. We now have a segment called Goodbye Jimmy, featuring Jesse Williams, the son of Ashley J. Williams, and the Sandman, the OSW champion. In the middle of nowhere, Jesse Williams stands over a grave that he himself has clearly marked. There's a wooden cross stuck in it with the name Jimmy Sarter written there. Only we know Jimmy isn't here. He's buried in the dungeon. I'm sorry, it begins sadly, but I wanted to do this properly. He turns around to hear footsteps coming his way. They belong to a host of people. Neville Sheldon, DTR, Jensen Cusson and Jake Jekyll all now stand around the grave. You knew Jimmy? He says to them all. Neville steps forward with a nod. I did, he admits. We weren't the best of friends, but I knew him. I can't believe you let him die. That shocks Jesse. Yeah, man, that was fucking brutal, Jake chimes in. I'm an asshole, and even I didn't try and kill Jimmy. Poor Jesse doesn't know what to say. Guys, take it easy, DTR pleads. William nods with a thank you. He used Sarter to get his daddy back. You can't really blame him for that. What was he supposed to do? Kill himself? He threw Sarter to the wolves and saved his daddy. He traded Jimmy's life for his own. There isn't a single one of us who wouldn't have done it differently. I would have done it differently, Neville retorts stoically. Yeah, well, you're a pussy, Jake replies. Enough, Jesse bellows. I don't understand what the hell is going on here. You're both dead, he says, pointing to Jensen, Cusson and DTR. You blew up. I remember hearing the story from my dad. They suddenly vanish, all of them, and the Sandman appears. This is now clearly one of his nightmares. He is, after all, the dream demon. However, it doesn't seem quite as strong as usual. I only wish I had the power to drag that out, he says with a growl, because if I did, I was going to have them beat you to death in your own dream. You're weakening, Jesse queries. The Sandman approaches, looking over his nemesis. Don't get too excited. I could still end you where you stand, boy. Gulp. What do you want from me? He asks, stepping backwards with caution. I want you to know that a fist of rage, I'm taking your father back, he announces defiantly, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. That makes William step forward with defiance of his own. I won't let you, he screams. You can't stop me. Williams runs towards the Sandman, screaming as he does. But flash! Suddenly, Jesse wakes up in his bedroom in a cold sweat, The nightmare over for now, but it threatens to begin again. I wanted to nod to OSW history and continue the story in a really cool way for these two guys. I just thought to myself, if I do it in a dream, I can use any OSW characters I want because it's a dream, So it gave me an opportunity to bring Neville back, to bring DTR back, to bring Justin Cusson and Jake Jekyll, to bring them all back. So I really enjoyed writing that. It was a lot of fun. Well, the minute he was the voice of reason, but there was like you do it all the same anyway. I thought it was quite funny. And then when he called Neville a pussy, because clearly Neville, I mean, I think the biggest clue that it was a nightmare was probably when Neville said to him, "You got him killed," because Neville would never have said that to him. It's not something Neville would have said, But that's pretty cool. All right, guys, we are moving now into another segment called "It Never Ends." It's previously recorded. It's with Mr. Andy Redwing and Monty Straight. Have you ever wanted to know the answer to life's deepest questions? I sound like I'm beginning an advert. Eyes fly open. A look of pure shock. Deep inside of them is a man we recognize, Mr. Kirby, Redwing. The Caped Crusader looks around his room, woken up in a cold sweat. He finds sitting in the corner of his room in a chair a man he wishes he hadn't. Monty Straight. His route to sleep while the cameras are rolling, Redwing leaps from his bed, taking a fighting stance as he approaches Monty, ready to swing. Get out of my house. Monty chuckles. It should say, get off my lawn, Chris, shouldn't it, really? Monty chuckles, leaning back in his chair, looking Redwing up and down before responding with the pure confidence which Monty is known for. Your house? You must be blind. We're not in your home at all. We're on the show that never ends, and since you're my tag team partner, it especially never ends for you. We zoom in on Redwing's face for a second, his eyes going wide as we zoom out to reveal the stage of Monty's game show, and Redwing now fully in his costume. He looks around in shock, seeing that he isn't alone. No, there's more than him and Monty on stage. Mr. Andy stands there, awestruck. Until his eyes land on Redwing, that is. Why? Why do you keep following me? Why won't you just leave me be? He says. It isn't me. I don't trust you. This is true, but I didn't bring you here, Redwing says. Redwing is quick to retort, but the clicking on Monty's tongue brings both men's attention to the show host. With a sparkling smile, he winks at the invisible crowd. Oh, don't be so embarrassed, Redwing. I'm your partner. I'd be remiss not to help you out, my dear friend. Don't lie to Mr. Andy. You wanted him on this show with you, didn't you? Andy glares at Redwing, approaching him as Redwing backs away. He looks to Monty, who smirks. So why don't I explain the choices then? Andy interrupts him, shaking with rage as he looks towards Monty. I want him to leave me alone. I want him gone. Oh, well, why don't I cut to the chase then? Door number 2 to my left. You're right. What lies behind it will help you destroy my partner. Andy walks to the door, Redwing watching as Andy opens it, revealing Seesaw behind it. Andy is dumbfounded by what he sees. Redwing ready to leap into action, but the stage is gone. Redwing is in his room again, alone, with no proof either Monty or Andy were ever there. And we cut. I really like that segment. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool, man. I mean, definitely plays into the brain of Mr. Andy. So we have two rewinds left, and we have 2 matches left. We have the main event for the OSW Championship, and we have the match that's up now, which is a double feature championship match. It's a fatal 4-way. The champion, Viper Roberts, defends his title against Simon, Luke Storm, and Berkshire Ellison Green earlier tonight. As you just saw, Zero was the first to defend successfully his belt from Wrestle Heroes tonight. Viper Roberts also won the double feature championship then, and if I'm not mistaken, and I may very well be, I think Viper Roberts, outside of our special, might be undefeated. I can't remember if he is undefeated. I can't remember if he won at Bloody Valentine or not, but I don't think he's lost. I don't think Viper Roberts has actually lost a match yet. He has? Was he in the 3-way? Okay, I'm going to have to check now because I'm curious. Part of me thinks Viper Roberts could be undefeated, but I can't remember what his match was at Bloody Valentine. So I'm just going to quickly run through and have a look. Oh yeah, Voynich beat him and Devon Chambers to progress, didn't he? Well, he's lost one since Wrestle Heroes. I think that's probably fair to say then. Luke Storm is a former OSW champion, and Berkshire Ellison Green is also a former OSW champion. Simon is in this match because of the quality he's been showing recently. So this should be a great battle. So 4 warriors stand in 4 corners. The double feature championship is on the line, and only one man can walk away with the victor. I think it's probably fair to say that nobody's pinned Viper Roberts. I think that's probably the fairest thing to say. Is Luke Storm? It's Luke Storm who strikes first, foregoing what seems almost to be a customary sizing them off each other and charging the current champion. Storm nails the Viper with a roundhouse kick that sends him reeling in surprise amid all hell breaking loose. A 4-way brawl. Fists fly in every direction. Hammering blows rock all 4 men from all sides. But bam! Begg drops Luke Storm with a low blow, got him right in the eye of the storm. As Storm drops to the floor, both Roberts and Simon turn on the culprit faster than the referee can have a word with him. Double team, dual clothesline, take Begg over the top rope. With Storm down and Begg out, naturally the action in the ring turns to mano a mano. Viper Roberts takes a swing, but the calculating Simon dodges the blow and drives Viper shoulder first into the corner. He hoists Viper up onto the top rope and drops him back to the ground with an elevated powerbomb. Roberts really shook the ring with that one. Crack! Lightning strikes out of nowhere. Storm drops Simon with a super kick, and he falls right on top of Viper Roberts. The crowd goes nuts as Storm covers both men. 1, 2, Simon kicks out. That was never going to work. With all this erupting in the ring, one figure is notably absent from the match. Begg, calculating in his own way, remains biding his time at ringside, crouching down outside the ring and gathering all the action inside the ring. Storm charges off at the ropes, looking to follow lightning with thunder, but springboard moonsault dial up a special dose of thunder, but Simon rolls out of the way and Luke Storm catches only Viper Roberts instead. A groggy Simon pulls Luke off the champion, trying to shake the effects of getting his bell rung. He locks Luke Storm up into a collar and elbow tie, positioning himself where he can take advantage over Storm's high-octane offense. Belly-to-belly suplex drops Luke Storm. Simon is now the only one left standing, but suddenly he's not. In a blink of an eye, Simon has been dragged out of the ring by his ankles by Begg. Begg mounts Simon and starts barraging him with a series of clubbing blows about the head. It is all Simon can do to defend himself against the onslaught, but defenses only last so long, and soon Begg lands a few good elbow strikes that catch Simon right on the skull. Inside the ring, both Storm and Roberts have begun to claw their way to their feet once more. Storm looks for the lightning strike again, but no. Snap. Viper Roberts strikes. Oh, to the snake. Roberts just drilled Luke Storm into the canvas with his patented DDT, proving why he's a champion. Viper Roberts covers for the pinfall. 1. Luke Storm looks out. The Viper striping quickly and fiercely. 2. At the last minutes, Roberts 2 is dragged from the ring. Begg breaks up the pinfall and now has Roberts where he wants him. Roberts and Beggs go at it, hammer and tongs at ringside, connecting elbows, fists, knees, whatever they can do to bludgeon the other man. Begg whips Roberts into the hammerlock and drives him into the crowd barricade, only to have Roberts push him away and drop him with a heavy dropkick. Meanwhile, Simon has managed to stagger to his feet, deciding it would be best to leave the pair skirmishing at ringside. He turns his attention to the ring, where Luke Storm is beginning to stir. Simon slides in, calculating and advancing carefully, but Luke Storm leaps up without warning. He was playing possum. Gale Force, a stunner, hits without warning, and Simon is planted in the center of the ring with a stunner. Gale Force, Luke Storm, but he doesn't have time to pin before Begg and Roberts are once again back in the ring. Simon is down and all 3 men look set to square off, except it's Roberts and Storm who lock horns with Begg, practically pushing them into each other. Begg Being the coward, as you would expect, Viper Roberts drops Luke Storm with a swinging clothesline and turns his attention back to Green. Okay. But Green is waiting for him and locks in a $1 billion dream. Roberts is fading. The sleeper is locked in hard, and bam! Luke Storm rises once more and blindsides Green, taking him back out of the ring. Both men tumble to ringside and land hard. Viper Roberts is on his knees, sucking in air. Simon is beginning to stir, so Roberts drags his still goggy carcass back to his feet. Once more, drop toe hole. Simon takes down Roberts with desperation. Mike Lane marks and basically gets an erection. He's battered, but still knows what's at stake. Checkmate. The figure four is locked in on Viper Roberts. This could be it. Viper Roberts is in the figure four, screaming in agony. Viper Roberts is desperate to turn the hold, but he cannot seem to get the momentum. He can't break free, and his face is turning red with holding the agony inside. But once more, it is Begg who comes to the party. He cleans out Simon and picks Roberts up for himself. An Irish whip into the corner. Begg comes crashing after with a big boot that nearly takes Roberts' head clean off. Luke Storm is gingerly testing out his knee at ringside, having landed awkwardly, and watches as Begg continues to barrage Roberts with a series of blows that are each stained with vinegar. Finally, he relinquishes and leaves a battered Roberts behind, tangled in a turnbuckle, and turns his attention back to Simon, who's pulling himself to a vertical base. Chip off the old block. Begg kicks the leg of Simon and hits his bulldog, but Begg cannot go for the killing blow. One forgotten foe is upon him in an instant. Luke fucking Storm hits the downpour. Begg crumbles, but here comes the Viper. He's got Luke Storm in his sights. Snake bite. Luke Storm never saw it coming. Simon is out, Begg is out, and Viper Roberts covers Luke Storm. 1, 2. It's almost clinical at this point. 3. Your winner and still double feature champion, Viper Roberts, retains at Wrestling Gold. Brilliant match. Fantastic. You cannot talk about Edward Newton's undefeated reign or his championship reign in general without talking about this match. This is the old school rewind. This is Nightstick versus Edward Newton. It took place at Shattered Dreams, May 13th, 2019. When the bell sounds, Nightstick immediately races across the ring and sends a big boot straight towards Newton's head like a fucking missile. Newton narrowly escapes, dropping to the mat and rolling out of the ring to safety. Nightstick immediately pursues his week-long suspect, sliding out of the ring and giving chase. Newton runs a lap around the ring, Nightstick breathing down his neck. Newton dives under the bottom rope and back into the ring, standing up just in time to deliver a punt kick right across Nightstick's jaw as he enters the ring. Newton then goes on to curb stomp the unsuspecting officer's head into the mat. When they're back up, Newton charges. Nightstick catches Newton with his lifted boot, and Newton stumbles backwards. Hard justice, the clothesline from hell, causes Newton to perform a corkscrew shooting star press from the impact alone, landing on the mat awkwardly. Just as Nightstick stands to his feet and regains his balance, so does Edward Newton. Big right hand from Nightstick, a hard left from Newton. Nightstick with another right. They're trading left and right. Hard justice. The clothesline sends Newton toppling over the ropes and slamming hard to the ground on the outside. The fans are begging for it. They want to see excessive force. Nightstick slams his weapon down on Newton's lower back. The Riddler arches in pain. Another excessive force, again to Newton's back. Newton, perhaps in sheer survival mode, rakes the challenger's eyes. When they get back into the ring, he kicks him in the shins and nails him with the Nevermore. Sorry, the Nevermind. I'm going to take a drink, 2 seconds. Which is a beautiful implant DDT. Newton makes the cover. 1, 2, 3, but Nightstick kicks out of the move that has sent so many contenders home empty-handed. When Newton and the referee both scramble to their feet, Newton tries to lock the riddle box back in, but Nightstick kicks him away. He gets back to his feet and gets hit with another Nevermind by Edward Newton, and it is over. 1, 2, 3, but Nightstick's foot was on the bottom rope. When they get back up, they position on the top turnbuckle, and Newton is looking for a Nevermind DDT, an implant DDT from the top turnbuckle, but Nightstick shoves him down to the mat and then leaps off with a hard justice, a clothesline from hell, making the cover. 1, 2, 3, but it is the undefeated Edward Newton that kicks out. When they get back up to their feet, the ode to Bossman onto the steel steps. That's Nightstick, nailing him with the Bossman's finish on the steel steps. The Nightstick stands back and lifts the crumpled champion up again, placing his head between his legs. 911 onto the steel steps. Again. Massive power bombs onto the steel steps. He covers. It has to be over. 1, 2, 3. But there you go. The reign, the streak. It is over. Nightstick's arm is lifted by the referee. For the first time since Newton arrived in OSW, he has taken a loss. And for the first time in unbelievably unprecedented amount of time, the OSW has a new world champion, and his name is Nightstick. And now I remember that, man. That was a crazy time in OSW. Okay, guys, straight into a segment called The Search Part 2. Gary, Indiana. Continued. Devon Chambers, after that interesting encounter with Junkrat earlier, now finds himself alone in a remote part of town. Digging through what looks like trash and wreckage. His voice, as it did last week, continues to narrate. Coming to Gary should have been my first instinct. Sidgwick spent time here in the past using some kind of device to replicate Junkrat. Why anyone would want to do that, I cannot fathom. Chambers pushes his way into a pile of metal, grabbing a large piece out of the centre. He brushes it off, looking at some strange lettering on it. No one knows where Sidgwick was from, but his time spent on this world in particular has surely revealed something about where he would hide in a time of need. Why he has done what he has done can only be revealed from his own mouth. Turning it in his hand, Chambers slowly smiles. His being drawn to OSW should have been the first clue. Sidgwick was a man not bound by time or space, but he spent time journeying to important places in its history, all before doing that which he did. Dropping that piece of metal, Chambers begins to walk away. It will be a test of my piety to enter such a den of inequity that I am called to, but I will not falter. As Chambers fades into the distance, we can see the piece of metal spinning on the ground. As it comes to a halt, we can see a single bit of text stamped into the metal. Made in Las Vegas. And we cut. Devon Chambers is on the hunt for Sigil to find out why he's unleashed whatever this war is on Earth. We are coming towards the end of the show now, guys. We have a couple segments left. We have one remaining OSW rewind and, of course, the barn burner of an OSW championship match. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Great turnout so far. I'll talk more about OSW at the end of the show. So let's move on to a segment featuring the Forever Friends called Dog Days. The Forever Friends. Ultima America, Chunky Moses, Magical Miles, and Sherman Dewey sit around a large table in the locker room recovering backstage. After that attack by Rune, they've secured themselves and they've been playing Dungeons and Dragons on the weekly for years, so this current campaign is one they consider their best. I've been thinking about it, Sherman says, somewhat solemnly. This dream of ours, it is a bit dangerous. Seems a bit dangerous, doesn't it? You're a level 1 knight. It'll get easier once you level up, Miles responds. We've dreamed about this all our lives, Ultimo chimes in. We're here now, and we can't let people like Rune run us out of town. Besides, we're in lockdown. We pan out to see sleeping bags, food stores, and general supplies. With what happened in New York City, we dare not go outside, Ultimo continues. That's where the adventure is, Chunky says through a mouthful of pie. I still say we go out there and check it out. Everyone turns to look at him with a raised eyebrow. He just continues scoffing pie. Everyone has a game plan as they get socked in the mouth, Sherman says while standing up. We don't belong here, guys. I love you all. You're my brothers. But I'm terrified every single day. Rune almost killed me. Miles stands up to give Sherman a hug, pulling him close and squeezing him. It's okay to have doubts, bro, Miles comforts. Sherman pulls away from the hug and heads towards the door. He stops before opening it, turning to face his friends. I'm going for a walk. I need to clear my head, Dewey says, as Ultimo stands up and approaches. He pulls the door open and steps out into the hallway, only suddenly and abruptly, he sideswiped violently. Blood has splattered the face of Ultimo America. All three of the boys jump into panic mode and rush into the hall, searching for their friend. There's a trail of blood on the floor, leading further down the corridor. The Forever friends are in panic, frantically running down the hallway. That's when they hear it. Guttural screams, growls. As they turn the corner, people are running in each and every direction. They don't see anything at first, not for people trying to escape. That's when the fog of humanity clears. Sherman Dewey lays on the concrete floor, holding his insides on his outside. As blood spews from his mouth with every breath-turned cough, his friends rush to his aid. Miles immediately crumbles as Ultimo bends down to grab him. Chunky Moses can't help but throw up. Their best friend, their brother, lays dying on the concrete floor before them. It's okay, Sherman. Ultimo tries to calm him. You're going to be just fine. 'Tis but a scratch, he continues, trying to make him laugh. It works. Dewey chuckles, but only spews more blood. Miles and Chunky finally come closer. There's a growl, a sinister, roaring growl. It's behind them. Whatever it is, it's behind them. Sherman looks up at his brothers. Run, he says with all his might. His eyes close for the final time as Ultimo lays him carefully down with the Forever Friends doing exactly what he said. They run. They run as fast as they can, the galloping footsteps of something terrifying chasing them from behind, growling all the while. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it now? Like, this war is very fast going to start becoming very real in terms of what we're dealing with. And what the characters are dealing with. I'm going to cough again. It's all being ramped up. So obviously, nobody really knows now what's going on, but I think with Sigil, it all depends on what he's trying to accomplish and why. Right now, with no answers, you can only assume that he's a prick. But there's no other option. You can only really assume that. There could not be an OSW rewind, or possibly in part an OSW, without these two characters. It's a beautiful way to end the rewind section of our show by remembering two phenomenal handlers and characters who helped make OSW, along with Mike Lane, myself, and many others, what it is. This is definitely not the culmination of their story, but it's definitely one of the most impactful parts of it. We're taking you back tonight to Red Snow 2 in December 19th, 2016. What we know is that for generations, the immortal monster Scarecrow has been hunting Brent Kirsch's family and killing them. We don't know why. All we know is that he has been hunting them. To stop Scarecrow from killing Brent Kirsch's son, Brent Kirsch offers to essentially lay down and let the Scarecrow finish him so that he leaves his son alone. This is Red Snow 2. It's one of our WrestleManias. It was one of our WrestleMania main events. I've obviously narrowed this down for the show. Please do go and have a look at it. It's in the old tapes. So the Scarecrow stares straight through the defiant Brent Kirsch as he stands before him, unafraid of what comes next. They're near the tunnel now, but Brent Kirsch fights back. He kicks and swings, punching wildly at the Scarecrow, catching him with as many swift shots as he possibly can, only the monster isn't having any of it. He slaps his giant paw around his throat and throws him straight down the tunnel. The old arena we used to have like a tunnel, sort of like we have now in many ways. Kirsch rolls, bumping with a thud as he bounces down the hall and into a set of tables. The Hayman follows, grabbing him by the head, spinning him around and throwing him straight through a glass office window. Holy shit. There's glass everywhere. Brent has been cut up and down his torso, and this is becoming a bloody massacre. The Scarecrow drags his limp body down the hall and throws him straight into the nearest wall, making a massive dent with the impact of his body. He doesn't stop there, though, grabbing him again and throwing him even harder into it. The wall slowly crumbles, but it stands, and Brent, he's literally out cold. The Scarecrow winds him up once more and throws him so hard into that wall that he bursts through the fucking concrete and rolls out the other side. There's almost nothing to say. Brent Kirsch lays amongst the concrete, dust and rubble, whilst the Scarecrow stares at him. Blood spatters across Kirsch's face, leaving him to be dragged by the Scarecrow to the nearest car. He opens the door and sits Kirsch up against the open space, grabbing the frame of the door itself and whipping it repeatedly into his skull, closing the door on his head. Kirsch flops to one side, blood leaking from his mouth, nose, and ear. The Scarecrow doesn't cover. This isn't even about that. It's a fight. He bends down, looking at Brent, who gasps. The Hayman stands up, looking down, and then sneers, finishing with a stomp. Stomp. That's it. He's not even breathing. The Scarecrow walks away into the cold winter night, never looking back, and Brent Kirsch is believed to be dead. This was another turn in a very awesome story. It was Brent Kirsch wasn't dead. He did come back. He did survive it. He was believed to be dead, but he did actually continue the story for a lot longer. It was definitely insane. This is that point in OSW history where we start getting a little more into the supernatural side of things, and we start getting a little more violent. Red Snow 2 is probably one of the earlier stages in which, he was in the coma, that's right, in which we changed. There's actually the end of the building as well. The building we had then, the Wrestleplex or the schoolyard, we called it all sorts of things. I think it was a schoolyard mostly. Errol Flint sold the schoolyard to the chief, and that took us to Miami and the tap room. So this played into that. The violence of this played into that. And then when the police shut the building down and said no, and OSHA and all that shit got involved and said no, we're not doing this. It changed. It was an interesting point in OSW history. But now, it is time for the main event of Wrestling Gold, our 6-year anniversary show. The Sandman, the OSW champion, walked through Wrestle Heroes, retained his title after defeating Edward Newton and Luke Storm. Well, Luke Storm anyway, in one night, and killing Edward Newton in the same night. It should be noted, including Jimmy Sata as well. So, the Sandman versus Corvus versus Voynich for the OSW Championship. This is it, guys. This is the main event, the final match of the card. There are a couple segments to follow, of course, at the end, so it isn't over. But here we go. It all started with a kitchen sink and a master chef. Good old marvelous master chef. And in 6 years, the OSW Heavyweight Championship has not only turned into a globally revered title belt, but the greatest prize in professional wrestling today. 19 of the greatest wrestlers have held the gold high as the Crow and the best kept secret look to join their ranks, but standing in their way is the thing of nightmares itself. Will there be a new OSW World Champion tonight, or will the Sandman destroy 2 more souls in his endless campaign of terror? Gotta skip the entrances, guys. So the match is beginning without the world champion as both the Crow and Voynich begin exchanging hard left and rights, an exchange that Voynich quickly gets the better of, but not for long as the crowd begins using their vastly superior, as the Crow begins using his vastly superior speed to get the better of the younger man, ducking underneath a wild right before slicing upwards with a hard elbow that catches Voynich underneath the jaw. Dazed, he stumbles back as Corvus leaps up with a Corvus kick, which is a flash kick. Corvus nails him with a flash kick. Voynich stumbles back into the corner from that huge flash kick, holding his jaw in pain as Corvus rushes forward, trying for another into the steel buckles. But Voynich manages to duck under the second attempt, rushing to the ropes as he bounces off, nailing the Ishtar's gate. A massive lariato nearly takes Corvus's head off. Corvus crumples to the mat as Voynich tries for a quick cover. 1, 2, but Corvus gets the shoulder up. Voynich, need more water at this rate. Voynich pulls up the prone Crow, possibly looking for that brainbuster, but Crow slips out of his grip, wrapping his arms around Voynich's neck as he slips down, locking in the garrote. Voynich struggles under the hold, the Crow locking his arms as he presses deep into the carotid artery, the best kept secret slowly losing consciousness, the crowd in shock as Corvus is inches away from becoming the new OSW champion. Voynich finally goes limp and the referee holds his arm up. It drops once. It drops the second time. Do we have a new world champion? Has the Sandman lost the title without ever being involved in the match? It drops a third time, or does it? Voynich's hand shoots up high. The best kept secret is still in this, adrenaline shooting through his body as he fights to his feet. Corvus desperately trying to still put Voynich under as he fights out with hard elbows to the ribs before bringing his head back in a brutal skull-smashing reverse headbutt that finally breaks the hold. Corvus stumbles back as Voynich unleashes a flurry of blows, rights, left, hooks, uppercuts before a scintillating knee to the jaw rocks the Crow enough for Voynich to lift him up high. Monolith, spike brainbuster drives Corvus nearly through the mat. Voynich backs up, waiting for Corvus to get back to his feet, and he rushes forward once more, right into a Corvus kick. Voynich stumbles back into the corner once more, and Corvus runs again, trying for a splash that only meets steel as the best kept secret moves out of the way. Corvus crashes hard, and he stumbles into a kick to the gut, Voynich grabbing him by the head and running him into the turnbuckles. The Eighth Wonder, sliced bread, goddamn number 2. The crowd roars as Voynich drops down for a cover. 1, 2, 3, and the lights go out. The arena is plunged into darkness for a moment, and the sound of crunching guitars echo through the slaughterhouse. The Sandman is here, and he greets Voynich with a hand around his throat. Mammoth chokeslam. Voynich nearly bounced off the canvas with force, but the Sandman isn't done, pulling the young man up to his feet and pummeling him with stiff strikes, capping off with a trio of uppercuts that lift him high up into the air. The final sending a trickle of blood down to the young man's mouth. Sandman caps it off with a sickening headbutt that glazes over Voynich's eyes before he rushes to the ropes, trying to finish it with a brutal big boot drop toe hold. Voynich counters out of nowhere, the Sandman dropping throat first over the middle rope as he stumbles back into a flurry of lefts and rights from Voynich, somehow still fighting past the pain as he manages to back the Dream Demon into the ropes before backing up. Another Ishtar gate, this time to the floor below. Voynich delivers a huge lariat over the top rope to the floor below, and the Sandman lands on his feet outside the ring. Tope con hilo is caught by the Sandman. Voynich struggles under the power of the Sandman, who lifts Voynich up high, trying for a powerbomb, but the best kept secret manages to slip out, delivering a Hurricane Rana that sends the Sandman headfirst into the nearby steel steps. The Sandman hits hard, Voynich lifting him up to his feet. Nevermore, shooting star press to the outside on both men by Corvus. Corvus hits that shooting star out of nowhere as he quickly gets to his feet, pulling Voynich up by the scruff of his neck and throwing him back into the ring. Voynich stumbles into a throat thrust, which is followed by a palm strike before capping off the murder of blows with a hard jumping elbow, before leaping into the air and nailing an impact DDT. He covers 1, 2, and a kick out. Corvus rolls to his feet, stalking Voynich as he begins to mark the young man for death. Voynich barely gets to one knee before the Crow is turned around, ring-shaking chokeslam. Corvus gets knocked damn near out cold. The Sandman ignores the Crow, turning his attention to the slowly rising Voynich as he whips him around, delivering another sickening headbutt before picking him up into a rib-breaking bear hug by the Sandman. Voynich screams in pain, the internal injuries made worse by the demonic strength of the Dream Demon constricting and suffocating his ribs and organs. The best kept secret has to be racked in almost paralyzing pain, but he keeps refusing to give in. The Sandman lets go of the hold slightly before swinging Voynich down into the deep sleep. The end of days hits hard as Voynich is barely moving on the mat, but the Sandman isn't done, kicking Voynich onto his back with callous intent as he stares deep into the young man's eyes for a moment, forcing him with a 40 wink, those two gnarled thumbs driven into Voynich's eyes. The best kept secret is screaming in pain, but he may not sleep for a long time yet. Blood streaming from his eyes like tears as he's too damn stubborn to give in and has too much heart to fade away. The Sandman is trying his best to force a submission or blind the poor kid in the process. Thunk, a dagger beds itself into the right arm of the Sandman as a thumb driving itself into Voynich's eye slowly begins to fall limp and drop away, allowing Voynich to see that Corvus has just saved him from a possible blinding here, marked for death. Corvus drives the Sandman back first into the mat, breaking the deadly submission as he pulls the young man up to his feet. Corvus puts out a hand in solidarity, and after looking at the quickly rising Sandman, Voynich shakes before both men stand tall, a temporary alliance in hopes of surviving against the Dream Demon. Both men rush forward, ducking under wild strikes from the Sandman as they begin to pepper Sandman from all directions. Voynich delivering a hard kick to the back of the right leg as Corvus leaps up, delivering a stiff roundhouse to the back of the head before the pair back up. Total elimination, sweeping kick, leaping enziguri combination that drops the Sandman to one knee. Both men are back up. The Sandman's dazed, on his knees as they rush forward. Running knee, super kick combination meeting in the fucking middle. That knocks the Sandman for a loop. His eyes glazed over, but he's not bloody down. Not even after that. Voynich backs up as Corvus pulls the Dream Demon to his feet. Voynich rushing forward. Ishtar, big boot. The Sandman kicks Voynich as damn near out of his boots as he turns attention to Corvus, throwing him off another mark for death attempt. But as he swings, Corvus dodges, springboarding off the ropes and delivering a hard roundhouse kick to the side of the head. The Crow keeps ducking and dodging, delivering stiff pot shots as he springs and leaps all around the ring, playing a deadly game of cat and mouse with the Sandman, who takes every blow before calmly pulling out his bag of sand as Corvus leaps forward once more, right into a cloud of red sand. Corvus blinks in confusion, coughing hard as Voynich gets to his feet, trying to see if Corvus is okay. The Sandman simply steps back into the shadows as Corvus turns to Voynich. His eyes, cold steel as a sneer of pure venom, fills his face, and he rushes at Voynich in an absolute rage. The best kept secret can't do anything but duck and dodge from the onslaught of Corvus, who comes at him with not only fists and kicks, but deadly blades as well. Voynich does everything he can to survive, steel slicing through the air as Voynich just dodges in time, a steel blade implanting into the turnbuckle cover right where his head was a moment ago. Voynich rolls back, trying to plead with Corvus, who rushes forward once more in a rage. Drop toe hold onto the bottom rope. Mike Lane with the erection. Voynich counters his murderous rush. Corvus getting back to his feet, dazed, and he's lifted up high. Monolith. Corvus slices a dagger over Voynich's right arm. The paralytic agent kicks in almost immediately. Voynich dropping Corvus like a shot as he couldn't support him one-handed. Smirking and twirling the blade in his hand, he throws it right at Voynich, looking to finish him once and for all, but Voynich leaks up, kicking the dagger right back at Corvus. Corvus just dodges the deadly dagger, looking up into Ishtar's gate. It might not have been the dominant arm, but the Crow felt that lariat all the same. Voynich pounds down on his limp arm, trying to will it into life once more as he backs into a tall, intimidating figure and looks up to the sadistic smile of the Sandman. Deep sleep. Both men are down and out as the Night Terror looks to finish off his worthy opponents once and for all. Effortlessly lifting up both men onto his shoulders, he grabs hold of one of their legs with either arm as he leaps up high. Sleep, spike DDT. Voynich slips out, countering in midair with that DDT as he saves the match for both him and Corvus. Voynich gets to his feet, bleeding and half blind as adrenaline courses through him as both fists begin to shake in anticipation. He lets out a mighty roar as both the Sandman and Corvus get to their feet, and he grabs them around the head, running up the turnbuckles before flipping over both men. Tatanka Haman's devastation. Double Salida del Sol. Corvus rolls out of the ring as Voynich pulls back both of the Sandman's legs into a cover. 1, 2, 3. We have a brand new OSW champion. The crowd roar as Voynich collapses to the mat, exhausted, bleeding, and absolutely spent. But he's handed the OSW championship by the referee. The smile on his face tells that every moment of it was worth it for the new OSW champion here tonight. The winner and your new OSW champion, the best kept secret, Voynich. Congratulations, man. Fantastic match. Of course, brilliant match. Well done. But also, mate, obviously with the help of his girlfriend to translate everything in promo-wise to make sure it's all in good English. I know it's only a game, but you've done so fantastic between you. And this is the result of it. So, you should be proud of that. We're all proud of you. We're all very, very happy for you, mate. We are very proud of you and all your efforts, and we're very glad to have you on board, as we are, Jordan. Been fantastic, and obviously commiserations to Sammy too. Obviously there'll be a rematch between Sandman and Voynich at some stage, because there has to be. It's only fair. But yeah, I'll let that soak in for a minute. That is one hell of a glorious French bastard did it. Man, it's got to be hard, listening to us talk in English, watching the show in English, and writing and hearing us in English is one thing. Writing it in English, obviously with the help of his girlfriend as well. We're all lucky that she's there to do that, because it's been a great run, resulting in a well-earned championship. You should be very proud of yourself, mate. Definitely very proud of yourself, because we are. Yeah, it was a good run, Sam. I mean, you'll get another crack at it, obviously, and in a rematch at some stage between you and Voynich. Should be a fucking amazing match, that. It is one of those things. It's difficult because it just takes that one night to get beaten. Coming through Wrestle Heroes like he did was incredible. It just goes to show that the effort that was put in for this match was something extra special, I think. Right, now we've soaked in a new... Malice is a fucking idiot, yeah. Now we've soaked in a new OSW champion in Voynich. we are heading to a segment after the match called Flipped between Corvus and Two-Face. What a fucking match. These three men went all out for the OSW Championship, and how is there anything left of them? Our focus turns to Corvus, who is heading up the ramp to the entrance area. He stops dead in his tracks, looking down at the ground. His head turns to the side as he bends down to pick something up off the floor. A coin. "We need to talk," a voice says from inside the entrance tunnel. The hooded Corvus stands to his feet, alert once more, trying to shake off the fog of war he has just come out of. But wham! He is attacked from behind. It's Two-Faced. And a lot of bold. The twisted politician kneels over Corvus, picking him up by his hood, effectively choking him as he does so. "We're here, just like you wanted," Two-Face growls. He nods towards the entrance tunnel, and several dirty-looking men come out, much in the vein of those auditioning to work for him last week. "It's a new world, Corvus," Two-Face says as the thugs pick him up. "It's time to do what you did to us. Your world is about to be flipped upside down." Corvus puts in an honest fight, but the thugs overwhelm him, taking advantage of his already being tired from the huge match he was just in. They beat him down over and over again as they drag him out of the slaughterhouse. Meanwhile, Two-Face bends down and picks up the coin that had been left there. Corvus had dropped it when he was attacked. The former Alton Whitlock contorts his scarred face into something of a smile as he places the coin back into his pocket. He believes Corvus set him up to die. What the hell is he going to do in return? And it looks like we may find out something. We are going to Simon Says Part 2. We have Dark Lord, we have Death Note, the new Rewind champion. We must abduct him, interrogate him, and once we find out what he knows, the Carthian language, and whether he has access to my planet's knowledge, we kill him. Dark Lord. He speaks in the dark corner of the slaughterhouse to an even darker figure. The figure replies thusly: "You severely underestimate his cunning. I have chased him for eons, attempting to do just that. At every turn, he has made a fool of me." Death Note. His response achieves a small chuckle from the Carthian. "Perhaps if you spent less time scribing death and more time prescribing it, you'd have already spilled his blood." Death Note ignores the Carthian's shot. "I've spilled his blood many times over," Note replies. "If draining his husk of his blood was all it took to rid him from the universe, he would not be alive today." "Oh?" Dark Lord replies, intrigued. Death Note nods. Dark Lord scratches his chin, considering what to do. "Gentlemen," a voice says. Dark Lord and Death Note swiftly turn. It's Viper Roberts. "I suspect you speak of Simon," he says. "And as it turns out, that is who I've come to speak of with both of you." Dark Lord snarls. "Speak quickly, then. Though be wary, I won't hesitate to end you should your tongue attempt to sell me snake oil." Viper grins. "A common enemy requires no sales tactics. You see, he left this for me." Roberts withdraws a tape from his coat. A tape he retrieved from the locker room earlier. "On this tape," Roberts explains, "he attempts to extort me, says he will expose me for the Jim Jones I am to the entire world unless I follow his demands." Death Note nods, which are... Viper smiles, shows his fangs, but doesn't bite, "To kill you both." Death Note and Dark Lord take a defensive posture, but Roberts waves them off. "I'm no fool," he says. "I, of all people, can recognize a forked tongue when I hear one. My aim isn't to kill either of you." Dark Lord replies, "Then what is your aim?" Roberts smiles as we cut. It's a really good segment. And we are ending the show, folks. Here it is, show ending segment. It is starring Bishop, and it is called Remember the Titans. New York City at night has never been so quiet. We're in a destroyed Times Square, and the sound of silence is damn near deafening. Buildings have collapsed and crumbled. There's carnage, broken lights and sparks of electricity. Billboards are shattered beyond repair, and there's not a single person in sight. Except one. Bishop. The monster hunter paces through the carefully quiet square with his shotgun drawn. He's hunting for something. Suddenly there's a howl in the distance. Something moves fast in the shadows, shuffling quickly. Bishop immediately spins right, then panics and spins left, but nothing is there. He regains his composure and tries to move forward. Only the butt of his gun bounces off of something we can barely see, a darkened figure, large and looming. The figure swipes at the weapon, but Bishop shoots. The shotgun blast sends the figure flying backwards with a puff of smoke and debris flying in each direction. He hears a sound behind him. He turns and fires another shot. Now, in a panic, he rushes to reload his double-barrel shotgun, having used both shots on whatever lurks in the darkness. Only something rushes him. Not just one, but many. These forces tackle him to the ground and begin ripping him to shreds. There's blood and viscera flying as Bishop screams in agony. Blood spurts out of his mouth as our camera focuses just on his face. His eyes are wide open. There's blood everywhere, and with one last heave, his final breath passes through his lungs. The camera pans back out to see relative darkness, and in that darkness, multiple figures dragging Bishop away across the concrete by his legs, leaving a blood smear across the path as they go. Whatever the fuck that is, whatever the fuck they are, they're here, and they've killed Bishop. Yeah, he flaked. Yeah, he asked me for 2 weeks off for work, so I gave him 2 weeks off for work, and then he never came back. Flaked on his storylines, faked on his segments. I obviously took over Dark Lord and Viper from last month when he fucked that up and then went on his little merry way, and then he just never came back. So yeah, basically just gave me an opportunity to do something that I really didn't need to do for the story anyway, but I wouldn't have had the character to do it for, so it works out well in the end. Well, guys, there we are. That is the end of the show. We have had a great night tonight. This show started at midnight. 2 hours and 39 minutes long. It's a pretty decent event, I think. So the first thing I should probably say is that on February 22nd, 2021, we have officially been open for 6 years non-stop. That's 6 years of weekly shows, tons of effort, myself, creative, match writers, graphical content, you name it. It's promos, hundreds upon hundreds of characters that have crossed our paths across, the years. We have a whopping, including Bloody Valentine and this show, we have actually had a whopping 329 events in the last 6 years. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's very true. It doesn't really feel like 6 years. Obviously, I'm very much wanting this to be a minimum of a 10-year fed. I've decided that. I always wonder if there's anywhere for the story to go, but I keep finding new places for my story and where I want it to go. I hope you've enjoyed OSW. I hope you've enjoyed this show as well. Just want to say thank you to everyone, new and old, for being a part of the roster, for coming together for shows like this, for putting in all the effort on the role plays and the promos and the graphics and the live shows and everything we've all do. It's sincerely appreciated, and I think as a community we're really becoming, especially with like these Weekend Among Us games, things are all coming very close, and it's not just a saying, oh yeah, we've got a community here full of really friendly people. We are that community. It does exist. If anybody would like to join us, you can find us at weareosw.com. If you're interested in becoming a handler for OSW, if you're interested in joining in on the fun, then by all means, please do sign up. You can catch me on Discord as well. I'm always around, so feel free. And we continue rolling on, guys, because we've got Fist of Rage, then we've got Level Up, and 1 Up and the Level Up match as well. So we have a lot. Mike Lanes obviously I'll be hosting the next live show, which will be the Wrestling Classic. After that, it's going to be Mike Lane. Mike Lane will be hosting Pandemonium 7 and Ring of Dreams 7. So, and that will close out season 4. I can't wait for you to find out what's gone on in season 4. I can't wait for you to find out what season 5 is going to be all about. Those 2 seasons are going to be just insane. I can't wait for everyone to find out what we got planned for that. So yeah, if you haven't followed friends of me and others that stream, so you got fast_lane86. He streams the OSW shows more often than not. I do my own. I make up some just to give me an excuse to stream so I can do these things. But Mike Lane is our primary stream host for the big events. So make sure you follow fast_lane86 for those. You can also see Alex Smiley Plays in the chat there. So do give him a follow too. He streams more, I think a little more frequently recently. Maybe not in the next few weeks with things going on, but he will be around. So, yeah, I know, Mike, I know. So, yeah, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show. I will be on Discord for reactions and chats, and I'll put together a card for us as well. That about covers it, yeah. So, thanks for coming, guys, and I will see you on the other side.